Yeah. We got Al, I got, and I'm church on Bill Street now. She had to go to church.
You, yeah, you got your head out here. You didn't make stuff comfortable. I got my animated. This one was on. Wait, I just take them through the whole story. I just made sure they didn't know. Okay. I mean, I can overclick it right quick. Oh, yes. Yeah, uh-huh. Go Scott, go Scott. Yeah, I talk. Waiting for that to get down, something do that right. No, I can't hear you. So, okay. Sit there blasting. Yeah, I'm trying to do something with this phone. I just can't canvas with your phone. Right, that'll work. It's what? What's going on right I got a good hand, man. I know, that's everything. I get off the plane. We get bang out. You ain't barbecue with the thing. No, oh no. That's why I think you're thing. Right. Goddamn. No, it ain't real. It's real. I told this thing. You I get back warm next week though. Huh? It's supposed to get back warm. Yeah. Like, she go get me. Well, I'm enjoying this week though. No. Yeah. Well, that's right. Hey, real mad stuff. You real mad. Okay. No, man. Hey, they like, yeah, DJ the man. Fuck DJ. Oh, gosh. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, the cool. Just had a picnic with it. You know, he come pull me out there. Then when I could, it's like, you know what's going on. Gotta put something together. Got to be the experience. Oh, how funny it does. Pretty done. So you got to bring something out here. Hey, what do you expecting you? Yeah, you can look through the things now. Well, go ahead. So, okay, you can go and they look at green and like that. Okay. Which is the foot on it. It's a big deal. Damn, keep that ready. You. Yes. That's what what's up? Oh, I brought my baby just in case if the girl goes, yeah. Right now. Give it up. Right there. I have a right. They need to work. Have better right there. They need to work. Cool. Well, yeah, that'll work. My God. Hello, if you come up to the tape. I know I am a little. All right, man. I'm doing such a who you? Okay. If I get the my straight hair, you can make it look right. I mean, well, that's not even. I thought that's what you're up there. I'll tell you before that. I think. When I get no phone number or email. You don't have a phone number? Well, that's a large job. Yeah, well, that's a phone number. Probably more. 3 times a week. You know, Jackie. Man, where you look at me? 100. Well, yeah, that's not it. Man, 55. Make a bigger guy. You know, man. What's it with a famous name? Right. But the big money. Yes. You want some stuff coming? Yeah, you know, yeah. No, I think not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Where's all of them?
I'm done. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't want to. What? What? We can go now. It's a very quiet. Oh,
Doc, we ready.
I'm ready now. We can start set off. But when you leave off.
We got
We open that. Just give it your back to you.
Okay, question, doctor can't ask nobody. Anybody have, in here had prostate cancer? Ain't nobody, just had the blower. What is that? Think you know where I'm reading? I know my doctor give me that seat, I don't know.
Y'all remember my urologist, Walter Ray. Yeah, that's my urologist. Oh, maybe somebody checked station.
Sure. I don't know what this is. I'm right.
But it doesn't engage that somebody that know what to do. They have.
Explain this to me.
Okay.
P is at 0.851.
851?
Yeah.
PSA, that's elevated.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's elevated, but it also depends on your age.
Six.
Six.
Y'all say? What was said?
It's PSA. He mentioned the PSA.
He had this result.
8.5.
How much?
8.5. So that's elevated.
Who 8.5?
0.85.
Oh, 0.85.
What I say?
You good? Right now, I told you. Yeah, but I don't know what they're talking about.
We had you dead.
Yeah,
Cause I can't read.
I'm here. You go ahead and get the shovel and
I can't read it. We can put it.
put up the numbers in. Put it in here. Which number? Go ahead and call Tyrone.
Get your money ready.
Last week.
Where will you?
Right here, don't you? We got to sit. We got to sign. Everybody doing all right? Doing well. Good. Over here, didn't you? So what are they? Then at the middle, right next to the spot.
When I move, no, move that cup. No, move that cup when I move the truck.
Yes, sir.
Now he gonna sit over there.
What you gonna need?
Yeah, cause they about to sit down there, ropes on me. I'm gonna stare.
Don't worry about it.
I have a time too.
Don't worry about it.
Hard to see. How about that? Well, y'all make me earn my money today. Yeah.
No, but I didn't know they was paying you for it.
No, they ain't.
All right, Sam. Okay.
Now we cooking. One more time, Doc.
Well, I gotta look at the slide, see what we're talking about.
You just turn your head. This man is turning.
Yeah, I gotta read from it too.
Oh, I see. That's a
Okay, Doc. Don't insult that intelligence.
I'm out. Okay, do that.
Just being here.
my thing, so you couldn't tell me that he couldn't be done. If you go real,
We can go ahead and get started.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All 2 minutes. Everybody get their food?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hey guys, we aren't already get started. Glad to have you guys here. Plus, not much of an introduction we have to do for our own brother like that dog. I want to kind of it's kind of like something I don't know what's been going on about you behind closed doors.
Yes.
But behind the scene, really standing there and brother John Gordon, we've been trying to work on this for 7 or 8 months. Always something coming. Something to do with the church not available. The last time, matter of fact, man had it set for May. At the last minute, we called him and he said, he never motor service church. And he said, oh, it's no problem. Then always in a guy say, hey, what I need to do, how you want to take place and everything like this. Then standing ahead of time, and then it was kind of looking and said that you somewhere in Greece or somewhere, he was overseas. But you know what? I say, hey, this brother was with to counsel the last minute because we won the Vegas, my site. But then when he came over this situation, boom, he said, man, we got a message from man today. I'm glad that you say work. I'm glad to see all your brother here. It's your game now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Delton. Before I get started, I always have to recognize somebody like Jerry Williams. Okay. Anytime Williams is in the house, you just have to recognize that.
Thank you, man.
And so I just want to recognize you, Mr. Williams. We're just glad you're in the house.
Thank you.
We appreciate the things that you've done. You're an idol for everybody in here.
Good. You are my brother. Already.
I tell everybody I know you, okay? I know you.
Well, thanks so much.
This morning we're gonna talk about prostate cancer. And I'll just tell you up front, I think one of the problems that we have as Black men is that we don't talk enough about health and about ourselves. I think women do a much better job with things that we do. I can tell you women that come in my office that, doctor, I need a pap smear. I need a vaginal injection. I can't tell you guys that coming off the do a rectal exam on me. And to be honest with you, if they ask me that, I'm gonna look at them. And so I think women do a much better job than we do. We don't do enough about talking about things.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing you have to do when you start talking about things, you have to make people aware of it. The first thing you have to do is talk about it. And I think we're taking the first step. We are at least talking.
Yes.
Now, I'm also going to take a little bit of the blame with the fact that we don't talk enough about it because this is the area that I'm in. I should be commanding the basketball. You know, the basketball team, you got a 3-point shooter, and he's shooting 50%, and he don't shoot the ball twice a game. I said, no, this guy needs to shoot the ball 10 times a game. Okay, I hear you. I'm gonna have to take my box. I can shoot a 3-pointer, okay? And I'm not demanding the basketball. I should be demanding the basketball so that I can be heard and I can tell people about different things. And you know what? We probably all have our own things that we have where we should be demanding the basketball so that we can get out front and make people aware of things that are going on. We are aware of. So I'm going to take a hit on that, and I'm going to try to demand the basketball a little bit more still. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about prostate cancer in Black men. And prostate in Black men is a little bit different than prostate overall. That's why we talked about prostate in Black men. The American Cancer Society recommends, states that in 2024, we will have 300,000 new cases of prostate cancer diagnosed. You can go ahead on my first slide. And about 35,000 deaths from prostate cancer. All men are at risk for prostate cancer. So these are things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what prostate cancer is and how we find prostate cancer risk factors. How do we prevent prostate cancer? We're going to talk about how does prostate cancer affect Black men. And then I have proposed some questions that I think we should entertain. And I'll ask you the questions. I have the answers to it, and we can have some discussion on it. Next slide. People ask, well, what is prostate cancer? The prostate is a small walnut-sized. Give me my next picture. Small walnut-sized gland in males. That right there is the top picture is the bladder. This is the bladder right here, and this is the prostate gland. When you urinate, urine goes from your bladder and goes down here to your penis and goes out. Prostate develops in this gland right here. What does the prostate do? The prostate produces that seminal fluid so that when sperm is produced and you produce sperm and you transfer it to the female, it's transferred in that fluid. And the prostate gland produces that fluid so that the sperm can move from the male to the female. And if that doesn't happen, then we can't impregnate a female. Prostate cancer may cause no signs or symptoms in its early stage, and prostate cancer that's more advanced may cause signs and symptoms such as trouble urinating, decreased force in the urine stream, blood in the semen. Now, if this is the bladder and all the urine has to go down this way, when prostate cancer develops, what it does, it obstructs, it blocks. And so when you go to urinate, what men will notice is that they'll go to urinate and the urine will come out slow, or it's hard to get it started. But what you're doing is you're pushing the urine through here. And if this is obstructed, then you have problems with that. If the prostate cancer, we call this is the gland, the prostate gland right here. This is the capsule around the gland. When prostate cancer erodes the capsule, then we say that the prostate cancer has advanced. When it erodes the capsule and gets right here, it can cause you to have problems with blood in your urine. It can cause you to have pain when it can cause a number of different problems, but this is where it comes up right there. People ask about, since we have this picture up, people ask about, well, why do you do prostate exam? And why do you have to stick your finger in my rectum to examine my prostate? Well, when we put, your rectum is right here. When I put my finger, I am able to put my finger right here. And I can feel the back of the prostate. I can't feel the whole prostate when I do that. But I can put my finger right here and feel the prostate. If I put my finger up there, and your prostate should feel like the tip of your nose. That's what it should feel like. If you feel a prostate that feels like a rock, or if you feel nodules in the prostate, then at that point that needs to be biopsied. We need to keep going further. How often do you feel that? You don't feel that a lot. Sometimes in certain men, it may be difficult to feel their prostate, depending on their size. But in most people, you're able to get your finger right here and go around this way and go around that way. And so you can feel the prostate, and I have felt prostate that was just rock hard. And when it was rock hard like that, I told the guy, look, you got prostate cancer, it's proven otherwise. We need to move it directly over here so that we can go ahead and get started. But when I feel something like that, that's prostate cancer until proven otherwise.
Some of those symptoms you describe sound like a PD also.
Like what?
PD.
Okay. You mentioned that some of the symptoms sound like DED. In case anybody doesn't know what DED is, it's venereal disease.
Yeah, what they call it that.
Okay. And well, that's what we used to call it. Yeah. Well, you're right. Now the problem with BD is that BD you're going to get the biggest difference is that you're going to get pain and burning when you urinate, and you're going to get a discharge. Now with prostate cancer, discharge is not one of the big things. Now, since you brought that up, men as they get older, their prostate gets larger. All men as they get older, their prostate gets larger. So the problem for us is to try to figure out, and as your prostate gets larger, it starts impinging on the urethra right here. And when it starts impinging on that, then it does cause some problems with urination. And what we have to try to figure out is your prostate getting larger simply because you're getting older? Or is your prostate getting larger because you have prostate cancer? So that's the big thing for us to try to figure out is what's causing this, is it cancer, or is it simply that your prostate gets larger? So that's a big thing for us. The last statement here, it says that prostate cancer that's detected early, when it's still confined to the prostate gland, has the best chance for successful treatment. That's probably one of the most important statements that we can say. Prostate cancer that's detected early, meaning that the prostate cancer is still within the cap. That's what we call early detection of prostate cancer. If we can detect that early, the surgeon can go in and remove this right here and take that out. And when he takes that out, if he does a good job and it hasn't spread it, then actually you can be cured of your prostate. Yes, sir.
But Dr. Dow, I'd like to introduce my dad's therapist, so if you have to call them, Dr. Dow's my father, doctor for a long time. Okay. Thank you, young man. What therapy?
Raheem, my name is Raheem Morris. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
He heard about you and wanted to hear it.
Oh, fantastic.
Great.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you about, I've known several of my friends that suffered from prostate cancer and they had the surgery and, treatments of the so-called metal, the statute, valve treatment for prostate cancer or, I mean, not prostate cancer, but enlarged prostate. And what can we do, as older men to, treat enlarged prostate or to improve upon our health as far as prostate is concerned?
Okay. So now he's asking a different question. Now he's asking about enlarged prostate.
Right.
Enlarged prostate, the other name we call it BPH, benign hypertrophy. And Black men or men, period, are going to develop enlarged prostate as they get older. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Okay. That's going to happen as you get older.
Right.
He mentioned South Palmetto. That's a herbal product that's been used. But to be honest with you, there are no studies that show that it has a significant improvement with that. People ask me about
SLT devices.
and I tell them with most herbal products, if it helps you and you feel better with it, continue using it.
Right.
It will not hurt anything,
Yeah, it should be.
and so you can use that. But enlarged prostate is just something that happens with men as they get older, and there's nothing that we can do to stop that. We do have medications for that.
Right.
Some of the alpha blockers, probably one of the most common drugs that we use for that is Flomax or tamsulosin. That's a prescription drug, and what it does, it opens up the urethra and allows you to pass urine better.
Right.
And so, and one of the things that I do is that people who have problems with their prostate and they have problems with urination, and I'm not sure if it's cancer or if it's enlarged prostate, I give them the medicine and see what that does. If the medicine helps, then we just continue with that. If the medicine does not help, then that means that they could have a cancer that's causing the obstruction and blockage, and the medicine won't help at all. And so we can use that to help differentiate whether or not that's prostate cancer or whether or not that's just enlarged prostate.
Daily nutrients. Well, a lot of it don't take around to good nutrients. How important diet.
We're gonna actually talk about
Like
that.
pink and selenium.
So we're gonna talk about that, but
All right.
your nutritional status is always important. I don't care what kind of disease process you're talking about. Eating healthy is key to everything.
Right now.
And so some of the things when we talk about, even today, some of the things that we talk about, disparities and problems with risk factors and those kind of things, some of those things are not just applicable to prostate cancer. It's applicable to just good health. It's applicable to any type of cancer. Okay. But your nutritional status is important, and it's important that you eat right and that you exercise. I always tell whatever you put in your body, you are what you put in your body. Okay. You put a lot of junk in your body, you know what? You're gonna get a lot of junk back. So you have to try to make an effort to try to eat right. Young guys don't hear that. Young guys, they eat what they want to. As you start getting older, that makes a significant difference. And so eating is a huge part of who we are, what we are. And I can't overemphasize your diet. Uh, Somebody mentioned different things, zinc and selenium. All of those things are important. B12, folate, all those things are important. But a healthy diet gives you your B12. A healthy diet gives you your fiber. A healthy diet gives you your vitamin C. A healthy diet and exposure to the sun gives you your vitamin D. So yeah, you can go out and you can buy all those things, but we can naturally get a lot of those things by eating right, exercising, being exposed to the sun. I mean, those things are just out. Those things you don't have to purchase. But that's just eating right. But you know what? We live in a world now where they'll come into the office and they say, Doc, I don't want to do all that. Just give me the feel. Yes, talk about me. And the pill is easy. You take the pill every day, your insurance pays for it, it doesn't have a lot of side effects. Doc, just give me the pill, I'll do that. As opposed to working on your diet, exercising, making right choices. Those things are a little bit more difficult to do. And sometimes people want to easy out, and the easy out sometimes is just get you the pill, I'll take the pill every day. But if you talk about vitamins, I do recommend the vitamins, but I usually recommend a multivitamin for men. And a multivitamin usually has a little bit of everything. It has some vitamin C in it, it has zinc in it, it has a little bit of everything. Some people, because you can get, and then people talk about antioxidants. Antioxidants are very important too. But your diet offers you a lot of antioxidants. You don't actually have to buy the antioxidants. You can actually get it from your diet. And so, and there are a lot of foods that have the antioxidants. One of the probably big things now are things like beets. Everybody's doing beet juice, that kind of thing. But it has a lot of antioxidants, a lot of vitamin C, and those kind of things. So a lot of the things you can just get from your diet if we would make the effort to try to eat right. And that's one of our problems. We don't eat right. One of my problems is we got fried chicken places, barbecue places on every corner. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat barbecue, should eat wing, but we don't have to eat that every day. I tell people all the time, those should be things that you reward yourself with, okay? But it should be our daily diet, and that's where I think we go wrong. We make that our daily diet, and so we need to really change those kind of things. Okay. Antioxidants, foods high antioxidants. Let me see, what do they have up there?
Dark chocolate, pecan, blueberry.
Strawberries and artichokes. So a lot of berries, beans, beets, spinach, and the antioxidants. What they do is they kill the cells in our bodies that are bad. And so if you have a lot of antioxidant, it helps to decrease inflammation and kill bad cells. And so that's very important. But the most important statement was that last statement. If it's within the gland and it's detected early, we can do something about it. We can do surgery. We can remove your prostate. You can live without your prostate. Life will go on. Now, what the problem with the surgery is, and this is where men have a problem, is that when they do the surgery, they remove the prostate, but when they go in and do that, they can affect the bladder. And then men will have some problems with controlling their bladder. And that's not an easy thing to do. Men don't wear, well, they can wear adult diapers, but we don't want to go that route. And the biggest thing that it does, it affects sexual function. And I have some men that die. I ain't going that route.
And when you say affect sexual function, I mean, you notify it, I mean,
Well,
pretty much,
it can do it different things. It can knock it out completely,
yeah.
or for most men, they won't knock it out completely. It's just that it's not what it used to be. And you may need to take some medication to help with that. But men, as they get older, we all our sexual function will start decreasing. And that happens as you're 50. Fine. Guys come in and they like, Doc, I'm gonna say, hey man, you're not 20 anymore. 22 no more. It's not supposed to happen just every time you turn your head, So they have to get used to that. But men have the surgery, and but the biggest thing is that they're able to live, others, and they don't have to worry about cancer, and so that's huge for them. The next slide. So factors that can increase the risk of prostate cancer: older age. Your risk of prostate cancer increases as you age. It's more common after the age of 50. Prostate cancer increases as you age. There was one statement that says that 80% of all men at age 80 have prostate. And so if we biopsy every man at age 80, 80% of them will have prostate cancer. The question is that at 80, all of those are not aggressive tumors. And sometimes, most men will have what we call a slow growing type of cancer.
At age 80, what do you do? I mean, at age, I don't want you to do nothing, but at age 80, go get there all this time.
I agree.
At 80, you gonna die for it.
And that's what I tell most people is that yes, you do have prostate cancer. At this age, you're gonna die from something else. But you won't die from prostate.
You will not die from prostate cancer?
No. I'm saying at that point.
Right. Most likely.
So when we screen for prostate cancer, we actually stop screening after the age of 75.
So I'm gonna say 79.
We don't screen for prostate cancer.
I'm not going
And
back
that's
to
because
that.
we're not looking for new prostate cancer at age 80. And then the question becomes at age 80, what am I going to do with a prostate cancer? Am I going to do surgery? Am I going to do no?
Give me some of them pills to make sure I can pee.
Well, there are other options. We can do radiation, radium implants. We can do, but doing surgery and those kind of things, it's not something that we really want to do. So we're not looking for 80-year-olds.
Dr. Dow, let me ask you this. All right, I was diagnosed about 5 years ago, and right now I'm in the early stage, and I'm worried. They said I'm in a window to where it's not progressing. I'm worried the count is real low. So they saying once it elevates, I can do one or two things: either take it out or have radiation. But now they say if I have radiation or chemo, then it come back. They can't do the surgery. I can either get to have the surgery or either do the chemo and radiation and come back. Ain't nothing I can do. It's just is that true?
Right. Yeah. So you asked a couple of questions there. And I'm gonna delve just a little bit into history, if you don't mind.
Right.
They said that your prostate cancer is early.
Right. It's still in the early stage. It hadn't progressed. Matter of fact, I got to go Tuesday and have do another treat. Go in another exam place.
Okay, so that means they've done a biopsy.
They done about
They found that it was cancer.
right.
And they did scan.
Right.
And when they do the scan, they can take a look at the prostate and they can see where the prostate cancer is.
Right.
And they can see whether or not it has started spreading.
Right.
So in his case, what they said now is that he has localized prostate cancer. Your PSAs are
Low. They like 6 or
okay. And so elected to do what with you?
Watch it, just monitor and make sure that don't elevate. Once it elevate, I got to make to see this. They have it taken out by 3 days.
Okay. So what they elected to do with him is what we call active surveillance.
Right.
Active surveillance is where we say that he has localized disease. It's early. It does not appear to be very aggressive. And what they will do is they will follow him along. They will check his PSA. His PSA is slightly elevated.
Right.
And what they'll do is just kind of watch it. If his PSA kind of stays like this, they won't do anything. If his PSA is here and it's doing this, that's probably more aggressive disease, and they will probably elect to do something different. Now, the thing that they want to do different is they can do surgery. Surgery is one of our first options. First surgery, you go in and remove the prostate, you no longer have it. If you don't do surgery and you do radiation and they radiate it, once they radiate it, then it's difficult for the surgeon to go in there and remove it, because at that point you've got radiation, all the lines have been scarred, and the surgeon just can't go in there and just take it out. And so it becomes very difficult at that point. So your choices would be, if yours continues to go up, is surgery, or depending on your age, you may even consider doing radiation. And then the other thing we do is what we call lupron injection. That's anti-testosterone injection. Testosterone stimulates the prostate. And so what they want to do is they want to decrease your testosterone altogether. And the way they do that is using the lupron, decreases your testosterone, and that doesn't stimulate the prostate.
I just put that out there of me, as you know, but hey, we don't put our pride to the side, you know. It's like, and you know, yeah, you get caught out there and it be too late then.
Well, I think it's important for being able to recognize somebody like this. Okay. Because now most of the times you hear about somebody that had prostate cancer, you say, John had prostate cancer, and and he died 6 months later, or he died a year later. So here's somebody who has prostate cancer and walking around working every day.
Walking around.
How old are you? They're walking around. I work at least 6.
It's next 24 with him. 6. He's still young.
So he's still young, and so yes, he's a candidate for surgery. He's a candidate for all of them. He can choose whatever one he wants. But the idea, the whole thing is that there are people walking around with prostate cancer who have prostate cancer, still doing everything. They're living their life, and it's not always a death threat. And so I like people to know that there are people who have prostate cancer that are not dying and not going to die in the next 6 months.
But you said with radiation, there's the chance that it would come back.
There's a chance that it can come back.
But the surgery is gone forever.
When they do the surgery and if they remove everything, then it's gone.
So,
Which
so which one you prefer to choice radiation or surgery?
Well, that depends.
Say
That depends.
exactly.
Because if you're going to tell me that I may not be able to use to urinate, and I may have to wear adult diapers, if you tell me that my sexual function is going out, you got to weigh the pro and cons with that. Men, as they get older, sexual function is not as important as it is when you're young.
That's fine.
Well, sexual function is not as important. What's your sexual partner? All sexual partner get over with you, both the house. And if you get over with you, then yes, it still goes down. Now, there's some guys go out here, they get these, oh man, can't get in church with that. It's kind of what you call later. That's not bad either. The whole different is.
So when it comes down to surgery, it depends on they start to put it.
you have to find your pros and cons. And the other thing, the other biggest thing that I deal with people who have to have prostate cancer and to keep it or not keep it. I have some people who said, Doc, I can't go to bed every night knowing I got cancer. I said, it's like my anxiety level is too high. I can't do that. He said, every time I go and urinate, something happens. I'm going to be thinking to the prostate cancer. He said, I can't go through that. And this guy, he was young, but he said, I want to have the surgery because I don't want to go through that. And he had the surgery, and 2, 3 years later, I mean, he is cancer free. He didn't think about cancer. Now, his sexual function may not be as good as it was, but in the back of his mind, he's not thinking, is this cancer? Is the cancer coming back? Or did I go in and get checked like I should? He can do it. But some people can do it, and some people can't. Their anxiety won't allow them to do that. Daryl.
I have prostate cancer. I'm surviving. My PSA is like 0.0 something. Is that I had radiation. I had radiation because I was prepared to handle the surgery. Now, can you explain the surgery? They turn you upside, almost elevate, turn you upside down to have the surgery. And with my weight and everything, that would have suffocated me. So I ended up having the radiation. I had 6 rounds of radiation. And everything's fine because my PSA is almost null and void. So I go to my urologist every 6 months. Now I had Lupron injection. So that we was talking about. So and I think I had 4 or 5 rounds of Lupron. Every 3 months I had a Lupron injection. And right now off of it. And he says as long as my PSA is where it is, then I won't have to have Lupron injection. But if it goes back up, then I'll be on Lupron for the rest of my life. But right now, it's contained. That's just the other thing. Weight can be a thing of choice if you decide you want to have surgery or not. So I was too heavy to have surgery, so I ended up doing the radiation. And the radiation itself was fine. The preparation for the radiation, that was another thing in and of itself. I won't scare anybody. But if you need to do it,
Go on there that I want to know.
what they did in preparation for radiation, they took pins, little bitty pins. They were gold, and they would insert them. Yes, it was not a pretty thing. So they could surround the site where they needed to shoot the radiation. So yes, it was like having a tack stuck in you or something. It was that kind of thing and everything. But it showed them where it was they needed to do the radiation. Like I would have laid on the table 20 minutes. I'm saying to myself, ain't no deal. I hear machine going down. That was all it was. So and everything. It was not painful. And when I finished with my rounds and everything, I went in, I rang the bell and all that stuff. So
Thank you, Daryl, for making your comments. Again, we see somebody in the room with us who had prostate cancer, who was treated and who is still functioning and doing everything. Daryl brings out the other point. Yes, surgery would be, you would think would be the thing to do, just go in and remove it and be through with it. But surgery is not the option for everybody. And as he mentioned, they couldn't, for the surgeon to get to his prostate gland and to do all the things he needed to do was going to be a little bit difficult. And so when he goes in, is he going to be able to get it all out? He may not be able to get it all out. And so Daryl then took a look at his option and decided, you know what, I can do radiation treatment and I can be through with it. And when he's right, when they go in and do the radiation, they have to outline where they're going because every day you go into radiation, their radiation beam comes down just like that. And you want it to go directly to the prostate. You don't want it to go anywhere else. And so they have to have an outline of where it's going to be. And he's right, they have to put those little pins in there. because-
They call it pinboard.
Yeah,
That's what they call it.
and they want to be able to go in and irradiate just that area. There they go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Fair hit on a lot of, well, it's actually look like have a surgery. Whether they go in, they go in your abdomen wall, or they go in your things. Where actually, how do they do the surgery?
Well, they can do different approaches,
Yeah.
but most of the time they can go in through your rectum, as I
Okay.
mentioned. Your rectum is here, they can go in. Because when they do the biopsy, that's the way they do the biopsy. They
Right.
go in through the rectum and go directly to the prostate. And so they can go in the same way and go in and do that.
Does it spread? Can it spread? Can a prostate cancer can it spread like with any other over cancer?
Prostate cancer can spread. One of the questions people ask, one of the old questions people ask is, doctor, if you open it up, if the surgeon opens it up, isn't it going to spread everywhere? Well, that's not true. But prostate cancer can spread. And so that's why we take a look at the capsule and to make sure it's still confined within the capsule. One of the places that it can spread is a bone. That's one of the biggest things that it will spread to. And so when I'm looking for, it can spread to other organs too. So when you come in and you have prostate cancer, then we do test check your bone, other things to make sure that the cancer has not spread it anywhere else. But it can spread, and once it spreads, then the treatment is altogether different. Then you're getting chemo. Then you have to go see the oncologist and start getting chemo. That's a whole different ballgame. And that's why the most important statement on there is the detection of prostate cancer early, when it's still within the capsule. That's when we have all the options. That's when we can sit down and talk to you and say, well, which one do you want to do? And that's when you have a choice and you can say, Doc, I don't want to do this one. I prefer to do that one. But when it starts getting advanced, you don't have a whole lot of choices. They're going to come in and say, you have this, and this is what you should do.
Stanley, when you be doing our blood tests, there's another form y'all looking for in there too.
Yeah, so when we do, we'll talk about that too, when you do prostate. So I'm gonna get to that, okay? We talk about prostate cancer risk factors, older age, race. For some reason or another, Black men have more prostate cancer than other races, and it's more aggressive. Why is that? We're gonna talk about that a little bit more, but that's a problem for us, okay? Family history. If you have a first-degree relative who has prostate cancer, you need to start looking to see if you have prostate cancer. If your brother, if your father, if your sibling, your child, anybody first degree has prostate cancer, you are at increased risk. And we start checking you early. And I think it's very important when families get together. I know when families get together, they drink, they eat, they laugh, they talk. But you know what? They don't talk about family history. And I think
That's true, cause they told me that my kids got to be tested early. With me having children, like my son, they'd have to be tested at 30, between 35 and 40.
that's what we don't do. So when Black families get together, yep, let's have a good time. Let's eat, let's laugh, let's tell some jokes. You know what? Let's share some family history.
Yeah.
If you got 3 people in your family and they all got prostate cancer,
Yeah.
you know what? Everybody in the room needs to know that, we got 3 people over here that got prostate cancer. We need to be looking for this. We don't do enough of that. Okay. So another thing, if we're going to take out of here is when we get together with family, let's talk about family history a little bit.
That's how I got started. My dad had prostate cancer.
Okay.
That's how I got started going every 6 months.
Okay.
I still just left it out to my uncle, but he's right. My dad had it and it cleared up a skill. I have to go to the cook.
Okay. But how often do we not know what our father had?
All the time.
Our mother had.
Be on the deathbed.
My dad, he died. When did he die? I don't know. He died.
Black families are really secretive when it comes to illnesses and stuff. And it's just, I think our culture, if something's wrong with our family member, we just don't speak up or speak out. I don't know what that's all about.
We're divided families.
Is that what it is?
We just divided families. And we got secrets from everybody.
just don't share our, which could be, you know, a life-threatening thing. So,
Stand, another thing too, think about it that your dad may not get, and although that it's in the generation like gene, but your grandfather, your daddy may have had something. So that's why you gotta go back and have some conversation that the family, yeah, that's a good idea. Kind of like doing it right, family function, we need to talk about that.
And sometimes, it's not maybe the best, the best thing or to talk about, those kind of things. But you know what? If you don't want to talk about it right now, everybody could say, you know what? We're gonna write down that, John had this right here, and just pass it around. And everybody should have a piece of paper that says, this is about our family history. This is what runs in our family. And if it runs in our family, then I need to be checked too. And my son needs to be checked. And you need to pass that information on to your kid. And so I think we need to do a much better job with our family history and sharing that with other people. And we don't do a good job. Family history and weight. People who are obese have a higher risk of prostate cancer. And so we want people, you talk about a healthy lifestyle and what you're eating. So again, how you eat, what you eat, how you take care of your body also plays a role. And so watching your weight is also very important. Men with an increased risk of prostate cancer, age 50, who father or brother has prostate. So when we talk about screening for prostate cancer, the normal age is probably 50. Normal risk is 50. If you have a family history of prostate cancer, and Black men, we start at age 45. Now, we can start at age 40. So my usual thing is that if your father had prostate cancer at age 50, I'm going to start checking you at age 40. I'm going to go 10 years before he had start checking you. And so that's why you have to pass that kind of information on, because if you have a family history, and that's what he's going to do with his family history. He's telling his son now at age, you telling him at age 40. See, he's telling his family at age 40, start getting checked. Now, how many of us have been told or had that kind of information passed on to us? I mean, very rarely is that information passed on. And so we have to do a better job. So when we talk about the differences and disparities between Black folks and white folks, I think one of the differences is white folks share that kind of information. We don't share that.
yeah, they're not ashamed about that.
They can joke about it.
Yeah.
We see illnesses as weaknesses.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't see them as a way to get better or anything else. We see them as actually something that people look at and say, oh, he got you. And as opposed to anybody knowing, you just keep it to yourself. I went to a family reunion, white folks, and when you said that brought it up. Their family reunion was a family reunion and check-in.
Check-in.
It was a family reunion and check-in. So when you signed up for the family reunion, they ask you specific questions. Is there something you need to tell us about yourself that we won't know to ask?
Right.
And in that they had, but when they got to the meeting and everything, there were so many people that they had to separate and go women in one room and then because of the questions that they had. But if you ask your family, or if you prompt them, maybe they'll do some things. But by and large, most of us are just secretive about what we got because you don't want people to know.
And then just to what you talk about here, and I think a lot of us may have experienced it, but mental health after this pandemic, I guess when I was growing up, if you had a mental health issue, your parents said, "Well, go on, lay down and think I be all right." But believe it, I know Dr. Dallas, there's a shortage of therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists, a shortage, right? And just think about if we, are more astute on mental health. And just think about what our kids go through. Kids who've gone through trauma, the kids who see somebody get killed or get shot. You see all that stuff be on TV with our folks.
How many people in this room are going to do therapy? Have a therapist?
It ain't but a few of y'all.
No, hey, I'm not. No, and not aspects like this. Because that
It boils down to just that. How much do you really want anybody to know about?
Once again,
And you know, who are these people that know all this about you? And can you trust them? Because that's the biggest thing we have. We don't trust everybody. We don't trust our own wives or husbands with some information. So they're seeing a therapist, but I think seeing a therapist probably be the best thing for most of us.
I think, young individuals.
Yeah.
I was curious of what's the earliest age you can detect prostate cancer. That was my first question. And then two, I think for you guys' generation, I don't think many therapists, because I'm married to a young white lady that is a therapist. It was funny. I was listening to some conversation I got off this. Where's the cat? Okay, yeah, I got it. I told her what I got here. I was gonna be a spy a little bit. But she's a therapist, and I've got to go. But as a kid growing up in South Memphis, there are no therapists that come in the neighborhood and say, "You guys need this, and y'all are experiencing trauma, or what is trauma? We thinking it's just a bad dream." So when I actually went to a therapist and got the walk process, that was just my first time going at the age of probably 22. And I don't think for you guys, age there are nobody like going into the neighborhoods and saying, "I'll see you."
We used our preachers.
Sure.
That's why they die early.
Oh yeah.
So he asked two questions, how early, prostate cancer develops, we'll see more as you get older.
Gotcha.
So it'd be unusual to see it in somebody 40. But you want to start screening at that age. And because my most important statement was, if we can catch it early, then you have all the options. When we catch it late, then you don't have the options.
So would you be able to catch it? So you said your sons, because you had it, your sons have to go at 40, because it runs in the family from the dad to the son. That kid possibly detect it at age 30 or 20s because it's in the family already.
It would be unusual to detect it at age 20, 30. Yes. I'm not aware. I haven't seen anybody at that. Not to say that it won't. Okay. But I haven't seen it. But we start picking it up at that age. And then you start talking about therapy in the Black community. People sometimes
Happy better tomorrow. What you say? Aspirin. You take it to the
like you said, take some aspirin and go to bed. This thing get a little bit more rest. Okay.
They all say pray up God and take it to the Lord, and that is great. But then you got to think the Lord created therapy, but that's just me.
And not for one
Think
great.
like
It's
see
a
my
problem.
son,
It's for all
he
people.
turned 31, so it's all the reason for him to start early. He turned 31 in 2 months. It means his time is starting to narrow down. So, and unfortunately, he was able to go to a lot of the treatments and doctor appointments with me, so he kind of aware of how it going. So he prepared.
So Rodney made a statement in the church where they say you pray about it.
Pray about it.
Sister, we just gonna pray about it. No, wait, just pray.
No, got to just see that. You can't just pray.
Just pray about it. Okay. So I think the first thing is prayer. You pray because that's where your faith is, and that gives you some comfort. But then once you pray about it, then the question is now what you gonna do about it?
Take action.
And you need to take action. But in the church, they're gonna always say, "Oh, honey, we're gonna pray about it." But when you get through praying, you ask that same person, "Now, what we gonna do about it?"
Pray up my therapy fund.
It's true.
I hate that he left him. We had Calvin shared that with me on what he was saying about his doctor said that we just gonna look at it and kind of wait to see, right? So I'm gonna kind of put an example. My garage door went out, right? I got two garage, we got two things that make it go up. Well, one went out. So the guy came out, fixed it, and he said, I'm gonna go and change that. That's gonna go out too. But I'm the type of person with all. I wait till it go out. That's how I am. But he's telling me it's gonna go out sooner or later. But now, when I'm and his hey cap left, I'm glad he shared this. So, I mean, something like that is that I mean, do you sit there and wait and see, or you say, no, let's go ahead and deal with it, get it out the way? It basically what he was telling us about just looking at it, just gonna sit there and monitor stuff, or do you just say, hey, just go and get it and let's be, you know what I mean? Or is it more of a personal thing?
Some of that becomes personal.
Yes.
The treatment I mentioned with him was what we call active surveillance. Active surveillance is a method of treatment. Okay. And with that, you watch and you see what
Yeah,
happens.
getting treated.
Well, you may not get treated.
Oh,
Do we put you on a specific diet? Is there anything you get? Don't why you on active things.
Well, they do talk about diet and those kind of things, but in terms of we're not going to give you
Exercise.
any chemo. We're not going to do any surgery. We're not going to do radiation. We're not going to do any of those things. We're going to watch. And there are some people who have prostate cancer that is slow growing, and they're going to die from something else. I said living in Memphis.
Me when you said that.
Memphis, you're gonna get robbed, and you're gonna get somebody gonna shoot you. You're gonna be driving around the interstate and something else. But you're not gonna,
Right.
and you're not gonna die from your prostate cancer. So that means you had prostate cancer and you had the surgery and you died 2 years later. You know what?
But active surveillance.
Yeah.
How often is this active surveillance? In other words, is he coming back every month, every 3 weeks?
Well, that's something that you and your urologist determine. And you basically have to go over the symptoms with them. And once you go over the symptoms with them and you discuss that and you decide how you're going to follow this, then you say, okay, we're going to follow this every 6 months, every year, or whatever you decide. And then you follow that protocol, whatever it is.
Within your background of people that have gone through active surveillance, has anybody gone through it for a long distance of time to where it actually spread it?
Well, so when you go through active surveillance, we were monitoring. You can get into active surveillance and we say, you know what, your PSA is going up. Maybe we need to change our course. So it doesn't mean that you're stuck there and you can't do anything. It just means you're going to go that route until something changes. If something changes, at that time, we may elect to say, okay, let's go ahead and do the surgery. So you can always change your mind. But that's the approach that you'll be using at that point.
But that was me. That was the active surveillance, and my PSA kept going up. And standard simple to the urologist. And they did the biopsy of the 12 points that they took. 11 of them were cancerous. It was decided then, okay, we're gonna do radiation. That'd be there. So, because it was a 7, and then I think it went up to 15, something odd, crazy number, and everything. So, if you remember, you can share all of this. I have no problem with you sharing.
That's not Daryl. You know, when you start sharing, I can share. But if you don't share, I don't think I'm not gonna work.
Thank you very much.
Don't want anybody in here to die from this. You remember, hey, I could have called his name, husband, dang,
Not the guy that Sanders.
No. Back, Melissa's husband.
Oh, what's his name?
I don't know, you know, Melissa.
Yeah, the Junkie Hotel. That's all I went out. The man had a trip one time and he booked the hotels. He went your drive.
Okay. Hawkins.
Hawkins is last name.
Yeah, he had prostate. He got up every Sunday to talk about his PSA and everything. That's when I first heard about it and stuff, because he was trying to employ us. Ted Hawkins and stuff. So, and I had no problem.
How many of y'all want to do that?
They need to know. Put it out. They need to know. They need
Well,
to
we're
know.
gonna get to that point.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Daryl is a good example. We found out about his. We did kind of go through a period where we started watching it, and then things kept going. And I said, Daryl, this is going a little bit beyond watching at this point. We need you to see somebody. He saw somebody, They gave their opinion, and then at that point, they said, well, we want to go ahead and biopsy. And when they go in and do the biopsy, they don't know where the prostate cancer is, and they go about 12 different places to biopsy. And 10 out of 12 of the places that they biopsy. And so at that point, it was still on him to make the decision on what he wanted to do. But it was still early, and when you add early, then you can have some input into what goes on. And so Daryl then was able to kind of sit down and figure out which way is the best option for me. And he chose the best, and I think he chose the best thing to do for himself. Our next slide, how does prostate affect Black men? Prostate cancer makes up about 37% of all cancers in Black men. The deaths in 2022 was 60,000. Black men have a 6% higher rate, but a 19% higher mortality than white men overall. 1 in 6 Black men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, compared to 1 in 8 white men. So 1 in 6 Black. So if you take a look at this room right here, we got what?
About 3 of them.
Yeah. So we know 3 of us in this room is going to have prostate cancer. So that means that if you know that 3 of the people in here got, if I haven't been checked, you know what? It's time for me to go get checked.
Well, there's 2 of them, because we already got 1. So,
Who's the third one, right? Okay, so we need to look at that third one here, okay? So we need to do a better job with that. Health disparities have been blamed for decades for racial biases and discrimination when it comes to prostate cancer in Black men. When they say health disparities in Black men and discrimination in Black men, well, one of the problems that we have is oftentimes Black men are not even offered the same thing that white men offer. How many times are white men given a PSA screening test as opposed to Black men getting a PSA screening test? There's a difference. And they even talked about the treatment. Black men are told just watch it more than white men. White men are told to go ahead and do something about it. So there's the disparities in all levels of it. And we also have to talk about how often do Black men go and get checked. We go in to get checked less than white men. Okay. So when you talk about disparities, the disparities is all across the board. Some of it has to do with us. Some of it has to do with the system that we work in. When it comes to prostate cancer, Black men are more likely than other races to be diagnosed at an early age, have fast growing or high grade tumor cells, have prostate cancer that is spread to other parts of the body. I'm a little bit more aggressive with prostate cancer because most of the people I see are Black. And that's simply because Black men have a faster growing, or they have more high grade tumors than white. And when we see prostate cancer, we see where it has spread it more in Black men than we do in white. So in Black men, we tend to be a little bit more aggressive with prostate cancer.
It really stinks here. Why are we in such a mess? Cause they eat some of the worst food in the world. Yeah, it's You're sitting there eating it. I sit there with them, look up, I'll eat it. I'll eat a steak once a year. But they sit there and take this steak, and this is no lie. Guy drink the blood. He drink the blood and first, and nothing. Oh, look at, and then he put it on the grill to get it lukewarm. So it's red when you get it him. And he is sitting there, ain't nothing wrong. I'm over here getting COVID. So,
They still have nothing. I thought about this several times today. Basically what you're saying. Really, so when you go back generation, you're talking about 75, maybe like 100 years ago. So like you said, Black and white, especially in the South, was eating roughly the same way. But what I just called what you're saying. But when we went to the doctor, say people in their 20s, I mean people in 1920s or something like that,
they weren't really given a proper diagnosis and tell them what's really going on as a black person, right?
As a black person. That was back in the 30s and 40s, but even in the 2000s, even now,
It's that bad.
there are biases in how people get treated. So they looked at black men that go in and get PSA even now, and white men that go get in and get PSA. We noticed that on the front end, white men are screened more than black. Why? We think that's just racial differences. People have their biases, and they do different. Well, you should go to somebody who is sensitive to your culture and know what runs and aware of it and will promote those kind of things. Now, I'd say that a white man can still appreciate what black folks do. Because if I give an example, Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen's a white guy. But I tell you, you put a black issue out there, he's gonna make sure it happens. But that's how he got to be where he was. Right. But you put a black issue out there, I don't care what it is. He said he wanted to name the airport after Isaac Hayes. I said, no, they ain't gonna let you do that. You can do a lot of stuff, but they ain't gonna let you name the airport after black. But he chases black issues. And so if you find somebody that still will continue to be aware of what those black issues are and chase those for you, then and advocate for you, then I say go. And I think they can do a good job. Next slide. Prostate cancer roughly makes 37% of all diagnosed cancer cases in black men. Go ahead. How is prostate cancer found? Different ways. The biggest thing that we do is the PSA blood test. That's a blood test that we do, and it screens for prostate cancer. The digital rectal exam, the DRE, it can pick up prostate cancer, but it's not as in vogue as it used to be. The PSA picks up the prostate cancer. Or I will examine the prostate, particularly if it's your first time coming in. Want to get an exam of your prostate, kind of know where it is. We may not examine it every time after that, and they may not allow me.
Oh, should have been saying, yeah, you do.
So that's the way that the digital rectal exam, the PSA, and then after that you do a prostate biopsy. We do a CT scan. The CT scan is to see if the cancer is still within the capsule or has it extended. Right now, we're doing a lot of MRIs now to detect whether or not they're in.
Which one, CT better or MRI?
Well, the CT scan works pretty well. Sometimes the insurance won't pay for the MRI. MRI sometimes gives us more information. So generally, we'll do a CT scan. If there's something questionable, then we'll go back and do it first.
What does the MRI cost?
Oh, they cost a lot. They cost 800, 900, probably higher than that. But they can be very expensive.
Well, yeah, we can. CT scan, whether they pay for it or not, I take.
CT scan is going to be half.
I'll pay for it. Stand, hey, Dan, Lord, it's too complicated. I'll pay for it.
I remember that one.
What's that money in the bank for?
Steps to prevent prostate cancer. We talked about healthy diet. That I don't care what disease you talk about. This is always going to be number one. Your diet. Always.
Diet. I saw on your list of good things to eat strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on my list for diabetes, tell me don't eat strawberry. To do no.
Okay. So, two things. Strawberry is high in antioxidants, and it's a natural fruit. It's natural sugars in it. When we talk about diabetic foods, there are some foods that have what we call a high glycemic index, meaning that the sugar content in certain foods is high. And so with diabetics, they have to try to avoid those foods that have a high glycemic index. One of the foods and that a lot of people enjoy is watermelon. Watermelon has a high glycemic index. And generally it's good for you because it's a lot of water, it's a lot of fiber, but the sugar content can be high. And so I have diabetics come in and say, "Oh, doc, I eat a whole watermelon every day." I said, back a little bit because that still will make your sugar go up. But but in terms of sugar, it's a natural sugar. And what we want to do with diabetics, we want them to avoid processed sugars and we want them to eat more natural sugars. And so if you have an option, then the natural sugar is going to be always a better option. But even with natural sugars, you have to be able to control how much you take in natural sugar. Choose healthy diet foods over supplements. So people ask me about supplements all the time. Doc, should I go and buy this? And they go to the store and they buy. I have people come in with a bag of supplements like this, and then the medicines I have is like two. And I said, "Did you take your 2 minutes?" "Oh no, doc, I don't want to take all that medicine, but you take all of this over here." So choose healthy foods over supplements. Healthy foods have everything that you need in it, but you just have to choose. But sometimes we get lazy. We don't want to do the work. And the easy thing to do is, well, just give me the supplements. I'll take that. Then I can eat anything I want to eat. Okay. So we have to be a little bit careful about our diet, what we eat. Exercise most days of the week. It improves your overall health, maintains your weight, and improves your mood. Maintain a healthy weight. Talk to your doctor about increased risk of prostate cancer. What's next?
Question of them.
Okay, one of the questions that we were talking about is, do you think prostate cancer has a taboo preventing people from talking about it? I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. There is a little bit of taboo. People don't want to talk about it. And so when you have that opportunity, talk about it. Let it come out. Discuss it. I appreciate again you saying what you had. You, Daryl, you saying what you had out there. I appreciate that. We need to talk about it more. And when we walk out of the room, one of the things I want us to be able to do is to be able to talk about it. If you're going to do something about it, the first thing you got to do is talk about it. And so I invite everybody to do that. Next thing, what about reducing the stigma associated with the digital rectal exam, which is a part? There is a stigma. People don't want to get the rectal exam. So there's nothing bad about that. Doctors do it because it doesn't cost anything. All I'm going to do is put my finger up there and try to touch your prostate. That doesn't cost you anything. Yes, it costs you a little bit of embarrassment, but
Your finger
your exam is going to be over with 2 minutes. You're going to go back to your business. The rectum is made to expand like this. So yes, I can stick my finger. It's not going to cause any problems.
You get free soap.
And we do lube up before we do it, okay? The next question, what's driving the racial disparities surrounding prostate cancer diagnosis and survival rates? It's multifactorial. We talked about some of those things here. Access to people have to have insurance. You have to have access to doctors who are willing to check you and make sure everything looks okay. They talk about financial stability, access to quality, all those things play a role, but I think we got to talk about that. What's our next one? One of the best ways to educate men and help end the disparities in prostate cancer rates. We must educate people to understand that preventive measures are important because they allow us to detect and address possible problems early on. The biggest thing is that we got to talk about prostate cancer. We're starting here right now with talking about prostate cancer. But when we walk out of this room, we have to continue that discussion. And that means that when we leave here, we have family reunions, when we get together with our family, we talk, let's talk about every now and then, we're gonna talk about football, we're gonna talk about basketball, we're gonna talk about all, let's talk about health. And let's share our health information with our family. I like the idea that your doctor told you to go and tell your sons to start getting checked. But that information is not passed on very often. And if he had died or something happened to him, that information is not shared, then his sons are growing up not knowing that they need to be checked. And that's valuable information. I think we just need to do a much better job with that kind of it. What's our next slide?
Go with that. There we go. Okay, hold on, let me do this.
See, I got Rodney operating that. Maybe I should have had somebody else operate. But he said he's not being paid enough. People aren't being paid enough, then they don't do.
Performance not there.
Yeah, the performance is not there. Go ahead and give me the next slide. Go ahead and give me my next one. This is just a, go ahead and hit it.
Oh, got to get the pictures.
Yes, that's right.
That's
So,
magic.
so these are some of the celebrities, Black people who were diagnosed with prostate cancer. And these are very prominent people: Colin Powell, Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, Nelson Mandela, Charlie Wilson, still alive. Sure, he's still performing.
Still dancing.
Still dancing. I saw him last year, and
Say next to him when he was there with Voice.
I did a cruise that I saw him.
So
Charlie came out there, he sang a song, then after that he sat down. Then he came back out there and sang another song. Then I know he went. I said something going on with Charlie. Charlie's got prostate cancer.
that's it.
Al Roker. Al Roker is doing very well now.
And weight loss surgery.
And weight loss surgery. Lloyd Austin, and everybody knows that O.J. Simpson recently died, and he had prostate cancer. And
Let's stand the bike. Huh?
yes,
That is one of them $10,000 bike guys. Sorry,
so we also talk about lifestyle and exercise. Exercise should be a part of what we do, and we should be pushing that. And
See that lifestyle, see that green grass, look at that.
it's that hill.
Ain't no
Yeah, I had just come up that hill and parked right there, and I said, "Let me take a picture of that hill and my bike." From Burgess and I were supposed to. I didn't ride with him this morning. I was trying to do things this morning, but he rode this morning. He rode 26 miles this morning. He and I have been riding at least every Saturday morning. And we're gonna do 26 to 40.
Every Saturday morning, y'all do 26.
26 to 40 every.
and
Yes, it's though. They make a ride. He's a little old than I am. But Stanley pretty much keeps it from me. Because Stanley make me try to keep up with him. You know, and you can tell he's been riding a while. But I think we've ridden from Shelby Farms from all the way to West Memphis, Arkansas.
That's right.
We've ridden like that. We've ridden like that.
And he's getting better. He's there. Now, what I try to do is I try to just maintain a pace. I try to just keep us at a certain pace. I'm not trying, as I get older, I'm not trying to just run. I just try to maintain a pace. And but I think all of us should be pushing exercise, and whatever exercise you do, it doesn't have to be biking. It can be, I tell people all the time that the biggest thing you can do is walk. All you have to do to walk is get a good pair of tennis shoes. You don't have to join a gym, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is own a pair of tennis shoes. But you have to get out there. And the first step is to get out. Rodney also rides.
I need to ride back. The story is when I first started.
I'll tell the story. Rodney came out there and first out. Rodney had some cut-off jeans. I don't know what kind of t-shirt he's wearing. I don't know what kind of shoes he had on. And I have no idea where he got that bike. I have no idea where he got that bike from. But then Rodney changed. Rodney transformed. And when I see you see the game out, and the outfit on south, had the little tight shorts on, had the jersey on. Rodney had his shoes on. All right, he wasn't wearing just regular tennis shoes. He was clamping into the bike. I mean, Rodney had the complete outfit. He went through the complete transformation.
The bike too?
Oh, the bike moved completely. Completely.
And you're still doing it. Now, on that since last summer.
Glad you invested in that.
Well, back on it.
As much money as he invested, he's going to have to come back.
I'll get back on.
Riding with us too. I was riding at one time.
Dr. Moore was riding.
Renee was riding when we first started.
He was riding. Sandra was riding. Tyrone Burrows was riding. We had a
Outside.
good riding group with them. And since we mentioned biking, I just also have to throw this in that myself and Brooke Burgess are working with the Lemoyne Foundation, and we're sponsoring a bike ride this year, and the bike ride will be September the 21st. And the purpose of the bike ride is to raise money for Lemoyne. We've done this in the past. In the past, we've done it. It was a small ride. The idea was to have 20 riders, and each of those riders bring in money. And they would get people to give them money, and they would do that. That way, we were able to raise $25,000 a year for that. But this year, we're going to open it up and want to have more riders this we still want those people that will make the contribution, but we want to have more riders. And part of that is to increase awareness in the community, because we think that Lemoyne is a treasure in our community. We don't treasure it enough. And so we're going to have bikers that will be going through the city. We had the option of doing this, because oftentimes when you ride, you want to ride out where you don't have a lot of traffic and you can just kind of hit it and not worry about stopping for traffic lights, those kind of things. But we're going to do this in the city where people will see the bikers, and hopefully people will say, well, who are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And raise awareness of Lemoyne and what Lemoyne is, and that you want to raise the point. So what we'll do is Delta, if it's okay, we will send out a flyer that will tell everybody about bike ride. You can ride with us. We have a 10-mile ride. So, and it's a fun ride. You see some of the historic sites, you take pictures. We have a good support system. So if you get there and you get tired, the truck will pick you up and take you back. For people who want to ride a little bit more than 32-mile bike ride. And for people that want to push it, we got a 64-mile bike ride.
Can you use an electric bike?
You can use electric bikes. You can use electric bikes.
Bring the spirits down. Let's go back.
I rode in a ride, the Juneteenth ride, and there were some people who had the electric bikes. I didn't realize they had electric bikes. I was going up the hill. Got core, right? And then we were going up the hill, and but he ain't working. And I realized, oh, got an electric bike. And but electric bikes still get people out there. So they're out there, they're doing some work. They're not doing as much work, but they're out there and they're active. And so I still push that.
Okay, tell me about the bikes you got. If it's not electric, who pedals for y'all?
I go to my own.
What is it that about a $10,000 bike that might $15 bike?
Bring it out there and ride against the bikes they got.
Oh no, we ain't put in my time no more.
Hey, but Stan, I want to say this. I'm sponsoring what you call a SAG stop on the ride. So what that means is like in so many miles when you do a bigger ride, you can stop and you get like a pole towel, cut bananas, kind of bring your body back. Cause you got to stop and rest and drink. So I'm sponsoring one. So maybe the men of Metropolitan can sponsor a SAG stop, which would probably be like a little small tent, water, granola bar, just somewhere people can stop, refreshing back up, however you want to do it. So maybe
Justin, what do you think about that?
Yeah, for the men, can let's sit down, let's talk about it.
I'll make a contribution to it. I'll make a contribution.
And I will too, for the men of Metropolitan. It's little enough.
But I think the men of Metropolitan getting together and doing something like that,
It'd be nice, say.
it's a positive thing.
He's right. I feel sad.
But I think it's a good thing.
You guys, man, talk.
Okay.
Right quick, before we disperse, Dan Ward Dan Ward's been listening the whole time. So I think that's great. And I just want to acknowledge our remote guest.
Is Dan there?
Well, he's muted now.
Okay. Well, Dan, we're glad
Unmuted now. I can tell you that one issue that comes out in this whole discussion, the lack of knowledge about your situation is what the deal is. I'm loving this. Go out and ride your bikes. Get out there and get circulating. If you don't get circulating, you will not be percolating. I'm through with that.
Well, thank you, Brother Ward. We appreciate your input and appreciate you listening. Sure. One other point, somebody mentioned a couple of women that walked through, and you know what? Women should hear this too. One of the problems that we have, I had a guy who was diagnosed with prostate cancer. You know, the first thing he told me, don't tell my family. Yeah. And it blew me away. And I'm like, what do you mean don't tell your family? I don't want to know. But your wife should know. Your wife should know what the symptoms are of prostate cancer. And if you're having some of those symptoms, your wife should help you with that. Yes, we're talking to men here, and the idea is that men, we need to spread this, but women need to know about prostate cancer and that it affects Black men and that it affects us and that they should be a part of that also. So I don't want to exclude, but they should be aware of prostate cancer also. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Should I be concerned if I'm using the bathroom twice a night?
Twice a night, you trust me.
Don't tell us before everything about
Please.
The next question was, should you be concerned with the fact that he's going to the bathroom twice a night? Well, yes, you should be concerned. So when people are going to the bathroom quite a bit at night, first thing we do is limit their intake of fluids before they go to bed at night. Caffeine products can also cause those kind of problems. And then we would examine your prostate. You need, I would do a digital rectal exam on you and make sure that's okay. Do a PSA.
See, I asked my doctor that because I just got my lab result. And she says, when she looked at my results, she said, "You don't need to, Mr. Johnson." Because I wanted the finger. You know, I wanted the other option. And but she said, "You don't need it," after she looked at my result.
Okay, then if you want to ask me, well, then you oh, that, oh, ain't it? So much of wine. It's absolutely.
But men, as they get older, their prostate gets larger, and so you get enlargement of your prostate.
I'm 60 years old now.
So yeah, so I would expect some enlargement of your prostate. So when you tell me something like that, I would expect that your prostate's getting larger, and that's maybe what's causing that. Your PSA is normal, so it doesn't look like there's anything going on with that. So I would continue to watch that. If that increases, then I would consider giving you some medications to see if that would help with that. Then if it doesn't, then I do something else to
Now, my PSA is 0.851.
So his PSA is normal. So we consider a PSA normal to be 0 to 4.
Right.
But as you get older, that PSA, the normal actually increases. So at age 70, the 4 is not the limit. It goes up a little bit. And as you get older, your PSA goes up. Now, most of the times when you get your results, it's never going to say that kind of thing. But that's the kind of thing when we interpret your results, take a look at that too. Any other question? Okay, so we've kept you guys here long enough, I guess. Thanks everybody for coming out. Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee's got something to say. We gotta hear this.
I mean, our brother Burgess did that, and I was good buddies as policemen. And I just want you to know that Burgess is a nice man, very nice. His dad and I we went to California, different places together, picked up prisoners, and we did a good thing. And I just want you to know that Burgess did it. And I was good friends down through the years. Yeah. And another thing I want to say, I'm 97 years old. Let's and God has blessed me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this one thing. I say my prayers every night, every morning. I bless my church. I bless my neighbors. And I thank God for my life. And I want you all to know that God has been good to me. And I want you all to know that we don't talk about God enough. But every morning, every night, we should thank God because we couldn't breathe if God didn't give us breath. So we need to be more thankful for what God has done to us and what He's doing every day. And I want to thank my church members. We got a wonderful church here. And the membership is like a family. I want to thank them. I want them to know that I feel well blessed to be 97 years old, and I don't get around like I used to, but I get around.
I appreciate Mr. Williams. One story I always tell, I probably told it 20 times already.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams was one of the first police officers out here.
Yeah.
And he told me the story. He said they trained him how to use the gun and all that kind of stuff. So when they put him out on the street, they told him they had all this training. They said, now when you go out here, all the training that you have, when you get ready to apprehend anybody, you can't arrest white folks.
That's right.
What? No, you can't arrest white folks. And I said, well, how you gonna be a police officer and you have all this training and you can't arrest white folks? So I thought it was one of the most interesting things that he told me. But
Still, I like to say again, I think I tell you all the time, but what you just said, just to add on, look, I know we gotta go, is that, my dad was second class, and my dad, he was young, and y'all know my dad be knowing, right? Jerry was the one that said, Bridget, you can't do that. So he was that one that, kept my dad in line. My dad told me that too. A lot of things that you got my daddy out of, Bro Williams, he would have been where he is.
Yeah.
One thing he told me, Stanley, was this. He said the policeman had to always, like when they were walking the beat on Bill Street, they had to walk back to the station.
That's right.
Right? So when my dad walked back to the station, one time he had his hat on. So when he went into the station, white captain said, boy, take that hat off there. You see this white woman in here? Take that off your head. He would take it off. He'll go back the next day with his hat on. Be another cap. Boy, put that hat on your head. You ain't no Pullman. Boy. Put that hat back on your head. Like every time he went to that station, he could find out which captain was online, put his hat on, take off.
Yeah.
Funny story was just wow.
Yeah, all day.
Let you know what they went through.
All day.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, brother.
all right, Delson.
Dad, thank you. Dad, good man. So tell you that.
Man, this is something that we've been trying to do for a long time. And today, there's a lot we can try to say about it, but it's a very knowledge, inspiration, and all. Because I'll tell you something. When we leave here, We still got work to do, guys. Kind of like we did in our family probably about 40 years ago. Kind of like we had aunts, even the younger aunts, the one that knew about our grandparents. We sat down with them and found out thing. Then my son got us saying, "Hey, let us find all the family history when our children get home." They say, "Let's find all the family history." So I'm thinking, we leave here. Reason why, guys, we started advertising trying to do it early in church. I say, men not gonna be on the move. The women here, your daughter, you got a niece that say you my favorite uncle. She's gonna tell you. So I thought maybe the women gonna get these guys coming because the guys not gonna come out. But anyway, this is a starting point here. This is great what we had today. And guys, we gotta take care of ourselves. Like it's a lot standing said. No more I need to say, but man, thank you for doing this for us. Right. I'm gonna say this because I'm passionate about it, right? This year. I do a lot of work at Lamar, my fraternity Sigma Pi Phi, right? Lamar need a lot of prescription guys. Y'all who went to Lamar, I don't know what all you know or what's going on or whatever, but Stan, I've been working with Lamar with this fundraiser, trying to raise money for kids, for young folks who probably don't get no scholarship, they need extra money. Did y'all know that some of the parents were staying with the kids in the dorms because the parents are homeless? And they're right next door to a church. So y'all, that's a lot of work that we can do. Take it over there because it's in a crisis. Wow. It's in a Lamar on college is in a crisis. They lost their accreditation. So what can we do as we're right next door, and the name Owen came from our pastor S.A. Owen. We as men, there aren't many men over in Lamar. If you don't believe it, when I say men, I mean men students. It's more women than anything. Some of these kids over there, first time college graduates, right? We took 20 kids. I mentored 20 kids out of the Boule, Stanley. We took 20 kids to Southwind. Y'all know what Southwind is? TPC? TPC? We took them out there to meet our president to have lunch with. When they crossed that gate, they couldn't believe what they saw. Couldn't believe it. What is that? What is it? What? They would take this gonna be my house. We're going to the TPC to have lunch, right? And look at the menu. Couldn't even know what the menu was. Wow. This is with exposure. But yeah, we're right next door. Exposure. These are first-time graduate kids now. First-time college kids. These ain't my kids, your kids, your kids. Some of y'all who I know kids been through college. And we're taking that for granted. This is a college. HBCU right next door. So I hope we stay focused, you all. I'm saying it because I'm passionate, especially when it comes to kids. Especially when it's HBCU. I'm not glad HBCU. But it's right here in our hometown. Right next door to our church. Right next door. And they don't come over here to go to church. They don't come here. No, they don't. So we got to figure out as men, maybe we need to feed them lunch or breakfast, something, so they can get on over here. But let's think about that. So let me just finish right here. So when Pastor Owen was pastor in the church, they had a program in Lemoyne, and they would give college credits for the college kids. As a matter of fact, they had to attend Metropolitan. And I was wondering what it would be. Because when I saw all the kids here lately, hey, programs for kids and graduation, you think about how good to see young people in this church. That's the lifeblood of the church. That was a program or requirements that the kids maybe at Lemoyne get a credit hour or this or that if they come. Let me tell you what you got to do. We had a clothing drive. We had a clothing drive, okay, right? Because when we met with the kids out of Southland, the president said, "Tell me what y'all need." Mm-hmm. They said, "We need clothes to interview me." Yeah, they need clothes. So we had let's take some steps back. Mm-hmm. They do what you call like a networking thing. I don't know if they started back or not. They do a networking thing like the first Tuesday of every month. Right. Stanley was over there with us. We go over there and network with the kids, whatever, right? So they said they needed suits, ties, clothes, whatever, right? So I got with our members, and we ended up giving like $5,000 gift cards, and we had some brothers at Oak Hall, clothes. But then those kids came in and men went up to the dorm, took the suit, and came back and had them all. That's what they're going through.
Well, I can't help out on that.
Okay, so we'll get together, bro. So now we're gonna end in this little. We're saying now it's time. Ministry needs some help.
Amen.
Yeah, we talk about what we can do. We need to sit down and have a meeting get this grant going to work. Please, action, talk, words, you gonna get it. Okay. So thank you.
So you said one thing, actions louder than words. So what we want to do is, we don't just want to talk, we want to do some things. So one of the things that Burgess and I have talked about now is, and we put it on the table, we talk about supporting the Lemoyne thing. We can do that. The men of the church can do that. And so Delton will coordinate this, but all we need is people to participate.
That's all you need.
And so we don't need to talk about things that we can do. Let's go ahead and do some things. And this is one I think we can get started and we can make it happen in the next 6 weeks.
And if anyone did not sign the roster, we'd likely do that. If we'd like to end us with prayer. Gracious Father in heaven, so grateful for the time that you have provided this day. Dr. Dow has been very inspiration, very knowledgeable, a lot of information carried on, and even the information that the brothers share in their lives, what's going on. We continue to pray for each and every one. Just pray this day, and all the information that we receive, we can take it and help ourselves, not only ourselves, but our families, especially our nephews, sons, brothers, and whoever the uncles that we may have. We just want this to be a time that we can touch and inspire everyone's heart and mind. You have to take care of yourself. So thank you for all that you've done, Bob. And we just ask you to bless each one of us as we move and going in our direction, going home. We may be going there in the safe and the other way. In Jesus Christ, and we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now,
What about
All right, my man. Thank you. What you make?
in between the thing?
Yeah, doing all that.
Oh, man.
No, this big stuff.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Job, bro. Very cool.
Go out. How